Hello and welcome to the Radiate Fitness Podcast with me, your host, Amanda Reedy, mum of two, personal trainer, nutrition and weight management advisor, PE teacher and lifelong happiness advocate. This is a podcast for you, the busy mum, where we'll talk about ways to prioritise your own fitness, health and happiness, because if you feel great, you thrive, and so does your family. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back. Welcome to the Radiate Fitness Podcast. This week we start to look more deeply into the different topics that help us mums prioritise ourselves so that we can thrive and help our families to do so too. This week I'm going to be talking about the power of how small changes within your daily routines can help you make huge progress in regards to your health and happiness. There is a lot of power in the idea of how small things can have huge impacts on our lives. If you think about like a precious moment with your children or your partner, laughing with a friend, a smile from a stranger, or even something as simple as finding a pound coin on the floor. I mean, no one has cash anymore, but you know what I mean. It's quite a good thing. It makes you feel great and really does add a sense of happiness to your day. All these things can be really impactful. It always amazes me how kids are often quite completely absorbed in small, seemingly insignificant things. At school the other day, I had a child run up to me asking me to come and look at something. I looked over at the playground. There was a group of children mesmerised by something on the floor. And I went over and I kind of said, "What are you looking at?" It was a slug. There was this little slug crawling its way, that's what they do, crawl, across the playground, and they were just watching it as if it was some kind of magic. I mean, at the moment, my garden is an absolute slugfest, so to me the slugs are not so magical, but I just loved and marvelled at the way that these children found something so tiny, so incredible. When you think about how we as humans are made up of tiny little particles, that also completely blows my mind. It shows that small things really matter, and how they are put together and how they kind of add up over time can become this really powerful thing that we can breathe into existence and use to kind of help us feel great. If you think of a journey somewhere, like if you're going on holiday in the car down to Devon, it's always a long journey wherever you are, but it's the small steps along the way that add up to that journey which take you to somewhere where you really, really want to be. And it's the same as the things that you can do within your daily lives to help improve your health and happiness. A great example of how kind of small things can make a big difference, or in this case, have a big impact, is something the Dalai Lama once said. He said, "If you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito." I mean, how true is that? We've all been there when we've woken up in the morning after this one little mosquito has been in the room and bitten us to pieces. Small things matter. Small changes in your life really can matter. I know that as parents, sometimes things can be so overwhelming. There's so many things going on, and there's so many things that we have to manage on a daily basis. Like the logistics of parenting are quite accomplished when you really think about it. But when you break things down into small chunks, everything can be so much more manageable. I really believe there is huge power, in particular for taking small actionable steps to help us improve our health and fitness. This idea was really well used for high performance athletes and sports people, most notably by Sir David Brailsford when he took over as the head of British cycling in 2002. I don't know if you remember this, but a while ago, British cycling wasn't as successful as it was today. There was a lot of times where in Olympics and in competition, these athletes didn't get any medals. However, this really changed with this idea of something called marginal gains. Here, the cycling team, the coaches, looked in detail at how they could make many elements needed to be successful better by just 1%. I mean, 1%, not very much at all. But all these 1% improvements would give huge success. They all added up to something greater. And this idea of improving things marginally worked. There were gold medals galore. And it is now something that is used in professional sport in so many different ways to see what improvements can be made. and how these tiny improvements can then make one massive improvement and help reach a bigger goal. I quite often think of parenting as some kind of high performance sport, because if you think of all the different things that you have to go through, the problem solving, the logistics, the getting people out the door, the motivating, the actual kind of rush, the adrenaline of the school run, put all the things together that you do in one day as a parent, and it's quite amazing to see what you have achieved. That is high performance at its best. And even in those days where as a parent you feel that maybe you're not doing the best job, we all have them. Really, you are all absolutely incredible. You are doing amazingly well to get your small people, and the bigger ones obviously, to where they need to be, to keep them healthy, to keep them and their spirits up. It's incredible. So I started to think about how as a mum we could apply the idea of marginal gains to our lives. Are there simple things that we could do each day? Or if that seems overwhelming, are there simple things that we could start to implement into our lives each week, which could help us to feel 1% happier or 1% healthier, or both? When I was thinking about this, the ideas I had came into two categories. Firstly, I started thinking, what easy things can we do to be 1% healthier or happier? But then I started thinking about how this can be applied in a more practical setting. And I started to do a little bit of research into how much time is 1% of our day. And what could we do in 1% of our day to maximise our health and happiness? And here's the two ideas that I came up with. So firstly, I'm going to talk about 1% of your day. So I did a little bit of maths here and worked it all out. So in a 24-hour day, 1% of our day is roughly 14 minutes. I think it worked out as something like 14.24 minutes if you want a bit of precision. However, if we consider that we sleep for around 7 to 9 hours each day, if we're lucky, sometimes less, sometimes more, but sometimes we get a few night visitors which might affect this. But however, 1% of our waking day works out at about 10 minutes. We can use 10 minutes each day in so many different ways. If you think by saying you are taking 1% of your day just for you to prioritise yourself, that sounds manageable. It sounds inconsequential. It does not sound selfish. However, taking that 1% of your day for yourself can make a huge difference to your mindset if you use it intentionally. So a few ideas that you could do in 10 minutes, which gives you a big change and makes you feel better, is reading, breathing, meditating, going for a walk, having a hot cup of tea, going for a quick run, doing a bit of planning for the week ahead, quick phone call to a friend, maybe making something in the slow cooker for dinner, which is really nourishing, or taking those 10 minutes and going to bed 10 minutes earlier. It can make a huge difference. They can have a massive positive effect on your mental and physical health. You can almost think of them as like a little reset, where you feel less stressed, anxious, and increase your ability to cope in different circumstances. All of those things are doable within 10 minutes. The other strategy that I started to try and think about was thinking about what things we could do as a mum in our day which can make us 1% healthier or 1% happier. Because the idea is, say if you you can do something that improves your health and happiness by 1% 3 times a week, within a week you effectively are 3% healthier or 3% happier or both. You get my drift. So here's my list of things that I started to think about which I could maybe incorporate a bit more of into my day, which could help improve my health and happiness. So I looked at the key things that made me happy, such as playing with my kids and actually having intentional time with them, where I really focus on what they're saying to me, play with them, and is genuinely kind of like actually present in that moment. Because it's so easy sometimes to be kind of like doing other things at the same time as trying to be with your children. I know I've been there. I think I'm there on a daily basis, but I really try to take some time to be present. Other things that make me feel good: exercising always lifts my mood. When I take the dog for a walk, this dog is so crazy, she always makes me laugh with something that she does whilst racing around on our walks through the woods. having time with my husband and having like a proper conversation. Often it's just normally some kind of ships passing in the night, trying to work out what we're doing over the next few days, where we need to be, that kind of thing. But actually having a proper conversation where we're completely present and engaged, that's quite joyous. Getting outside, at the moment it's autumn here and the trees are just turning into those beautiful colours. That is one thing which I think is amazing for your health. Getting outside in the fresh air, breathing it in and looking around, seeing what's there, looking up. How often do you look up when you're in a rush? I'm normally looking down, trying to like get somewhere as fast as possible. But taking that second just to look up and around you can really change everything, especially how you're feeling. Seeing my friends, seeing my family, my parents, getting out for a nice meal, or even just making a really nice meal at home. If you try and do a little more of these things, not all of them because that's too much, but just a couple of things or a couple of times a week, it can really make you feel a little bit better. And it's all about these small changes. And I'm sure you can come up with another like 10 things that you would love to do more of. So come up with that list. Really think about what makes you happy and see if you can do 1 or 2 or 3 of these things each week a little bit more. Notice how it makes you feel. And if it does make you feel better, it makes you feel happier, it makes you feel healthier, keep doing them. Small changes can make a huge difference to our healths. Another way that you can incorporate small changes to really make you feel healthier is, if you are already exercising regularly, maybe try each week to increase what you are doing by a small amount. This is called progressive overload. It makes your body work harder and ultimately it helps you to become fitter. If you don't exercise at all, just doing some form of exercise for a start of 10 minutes a day is a great place to start. Whether it's walking, jogging, going on a bike ride, running around the garden with the kids, dancing in your kitchen, it all counts. But then try to progress it. So make your body work that little bit harder. It allows your body to adapt and then you become fitter. I'll talk about this more in another episode, but this is a very basic idea of how you can start to become stronger and healthier. And it really does make a difference. Tiny improvements all together build up to something big. So, my challenge for you this week is to reclaim 1% of your day. Take 10 minutes for yourself. Do this every day if you can, or at least a couple of times a week, and build on it. Find and choose one of the marginal gain activities that you would like to work on, something personal to you, because if it's personal to you, you will stick at it. If you take one of mine and you think, oh, Amanda said that sounds good, then they probably won't work quite as well because they were things that I came up with. Obviously, if they're the same, then use them. But they're just ideas. Pick something achievable. One small change you can make to your life that makes you feel happier, more able to cope, and less overwhelmed. Pick something you'll be so happy that you did that you can't believe that you haven't done it sooner. Really kind of make that choice and commit. Once you've chosen what it is that you'd like to do, just do it. It's as easy as that. Then notice how it makes you feel and the impact it has on the rest of your day. I really promise that you won't regret it. I would love to hear what it is that you chose to do and how making this small change to your life has impacted you. Please send me a message at amanda@radiatefitness.co.uk or via Instagram at radiatefitnessuk. Good luck. I know you can do it. Can't wait to hear how you get on. Have a brilliant week.